So the typical way that we think about growth is we think of growth in terms of how fast is my market growing or how much market share am I gaining within that marketplace. But what happens if the market itself is changing and changing at a very rapid pace?
Michael Treacy, building next generation businesses.
We're seeing time and time and time again the entrenched players being challenged by new entrants who don't enter the business the way it's traditionally been run. They enter the business in a wholly new and different way. An example here would be automobile retailing. Wayne Huizenga and his company, Republic Industries, 2.5 years ago, they didn't have any position in the automobile retailing business, and it's a $650 billion business for round numbers in the United States, new and used cars. $650 billion, it's a large market, by and large managed by independent mom-and-pop dealerships owned by single families. Wayne Huizenga's come into that marketplace, and this year, 1998, he's reporting to Wall Street that he'll probably sell about $18 billion worth of automobiles. They're predicting that they'll sell $60 billion worth of automobiles in the not-too-distant future, and his approach is different. His whole approach is how do I bring a next-generation value proposition to that marketplace and really shake things up.
And Michael Treacy has been shaking the marketplace up as well. First, as a professor with MIT's Sloan School of Management, Treacy foresaw the evolution of technology and its impact on how business is done. Then, as the founder and chairman of Treacy & Company, a consulting firm specializing in strategic positioning, transforming major companies into world-renowned market leaders.
I've spent the last 5 years building a strategy consulting business, focused exclusively on one issue, and that issue is growth. How to help America's largest companies accelerate the pace at which they grow. And name a large firm, and my folks have probably worked in that organization. A year and a half ago, accidentally, we took on some internet clients, venture-backed, pure-play .coms. Extraordinary success, financial success, in helping those companies during that crazy bubble period where anything was worth too much money. It turned our heads, not just because of the financial impact it had on us, it turned our heads because we got into looking at something back in late 98, that clearly was the biggest phenomenon that I'd ever witnessed in my entire professional career. When I was back at MIT, I spent 10 years studying one topic, the impact of information technology on organizations. In 1989, having studied it for 10 years, I walked away, having concluded that information technology was having absolutely no impact whatsoever on the productivity of organizations. And I could demonstrate that well enough to publish academic articles. Now, timing is everything. And the truth is, I walked away 10 years too early. Because what I saw in that period was an accumulation of investment in time and energy and technology, starting in the 50s, going right forward through the 80s, that was mostly about laying in place the infrastructure, going up the learning curve so that we could see the explosive impacts that technology has been having in the last 5 to 10 years.
Today, Treacy is a leading entrepreneur and chief strategist for Gen 3 Partners, a firm that works with prominent companies to build next-generation businesses and create new value by leveraging existing assets.
What's arrived is just the first wave of what's at least a 10 or 15-year phenomenon, which we will go through at least 2, if not 3, complete generational shifts in thinking that are as profound as the shift from client-server to internet protocol. There are 2 or 3 more of those within this internet space left for us to think about.
Michael Treacy's business bestseller, The Discipline of Market Leaders, provided much for corporate leaders to think about.
The companies that succeed in fast-changing markets have always got a really strong core business. And a strong core business starts with having a very strong value proposition that is uniquely better than other people in the marketplace in attracting the customers you're looking for and you're going after. So let me give you some examples. If I ask David Glass, the chairman of Walmart, why do people do business with Walmart? I believe I'd get a very simple answer: price. Price is the value proposition of Walmart. If I was to ask Fred Smith at Federal Express, why do people do business with Federal Express? Why is it the leader in its marketplace? I think he'd use two words: absolutely, positively. It is that guarantee of quality service. It's that no-hassle service that FedEx provides is their uniqueness and their hallmark and their distinction in that marketplace. If I was to ask Andy Grove, the now retired CEO of Intel, as he passes on the mantle to the next executive, if I was to ask Andy Grove, why has Intel grown to be a $25 billion business in semiconductors and come to dominate that marketplace? I believe what Intel would tell me, what Andy Grove would tell me, is best product. That what's our answer to why people do business with us is we sell the best product.
Thriving in turbulent markets.
First thing people are asking for is an internet strategy. Can't you help me build a strategy? Why do you want a strategy, Bob? Because my board of directors is beating me up, saying we've got to have an internet strategy. The problem with internet strategy goes right back to that thing I talked about a moment ago about the pace of learning. The truth is that organizations are learning and changing their views of what to do with the internet so quickly that it creates enormous instability in whatever plans get developed. We have found it advantageous to actually skip the stage of trying to develop a broad corporate strategy with respect to the internet. Focus instead on what we can go do. What can we get done in the marketplace that is of value to the corporation, and what do we learn from that that leads us toward the next big thing that we can do? And what I'll focus you on in this session is three distinct areas in which corporations today can go and get things done. Simple example. The promise of ERP over the last decade was a promise that was unfulfillable. It was a promise that if you implement my integrated suite of application software, I will take your business to the next generation. I will create for you what I'm talking about here with an E model. The reality is that the organizations that embraced ERP did not fully comprehend what it would take to literally advance their business model an entire generation. Were they really prepared to fundamentally simplify their business practices? Were they fundamentally prepared to redesign and re-engineer a broad set of business processes? No. And in fact, under the pressure of time to implement, most large organizations sacrifice their most ambitious goals around organizational change and improvement and satisfy themselves that at least ERP would get them over the hump of Y2K. Somewhere out in that future, we're going to reconnect with that promise of a fully integrated information environment that allows a business as complex as Dow Chemical to literally advance itself an entire generation in how it does business.
Recognizing next generation value.
If your plan is to try to move into a related market where there is a big and entrenched player, and the only thing you bring to that market is better value, which is table stakes, your chance of success is really slim. Witness Anheuser-Busch in the beer business, thinking they can muscle their way into Frito-Lay's salty snack business with Eagle brand snacks. It took them a few years and a few $100 million of losses to decide that was a pretty bad idea. Because Frito-Lay, as the entrenched player, could easily push back and confuse and confound somebody trying to enter who wasn't entering with next generation value. They were just kind of the same products from a different company. A number of years ago, Procter & Gamble thought it was a smart idea to move into the cookie business. Nabisco explained to them in a rather painful way that it was a dumb idea for P&G to try to be in the cookie business. So if you're going to enter a related market simply with better value, there's really only one way to do it, and that is take out your checkbook and buy the competitor.
Transforming your marketplace.
When the same ticket is reserved through their reservation system, and it is issued as an e-ticket at the gate, it costs $28. When the same ticket is booked over the internet and issued as an e-ticket, it costs them $7. Any wonder that their strategy is to channel shift toward low-cost channels? Is there any surprise in the world as to what it is the airlines are doing in trying to move toward direct connect relationships with their clients, booking over their own websites, and if necessary, forming up a consortium to create an airline-owned electronic exchange? It's going to happen across a wide range of industries.
Innovating for your competitive edge.
Where can I be like a Fred Smith and invent a marketplace that did not heretofore exist? I mean, Fred Smith, Federal Express 25 years ago, who knew they needed overnight delivery before overnight delivery came to be? Nobody. Today we're seeing all sorts of innovators and inventors trying to get off the ground electronic commerce in one form or another. You know, so new markets. There's an outfit in Seattle called Planet Foods. There's another one around Boston called Streamline. Both of them believe they can make a business of bringing food to your home at your convenience the way you want to have it. That's a market that doesn't exist today. And they're both going to suffer probably all of the pains that a missionary suffers, which is you get as many arrows in your back as you do plaudits for success. But that's one area that we can look for growth in a changing market, is there may be absolutely brand new opportunities that nobody's derived revenue from in the past.